Deepa here. I'm here in my art studio with all my sacred portals. And the sacred portals have been kind of guiding me to talk about this topic of fear. You know, the biggest thing I hear people say a lot of times is, how can I stop my fear? You know, I don't know if you felt that way before, but fear can show up in many ways. And I find right now with what's going on in the world, people are having a lot more fear than they probably had before, or at least they're more conscious of the fear. You know, one of the things I always like to point out to people is, if you're someone who thinks you don't have any fear, I want to point out that it does disguise itself in these, mysterious little ways. Fear shows up in ways of worry, anxiety, doubt, anger. A lot of people don't know when they're angry. A lot of times they're having fear. It could be you're angry about what's happening, but behind you have fear, like you're not going to get your needs met, or that you feel something's unfair and you feel like you're not going to get, your fair share. Fear also shows up in other ways of trying to keep you like staying in jobs you don't like, because like I've heard this phrase, golden handcuffs. I have to stay because, golden handcuffs. And that's still based on fear, the fear that you won't have the money for retirement. So it's one of the things I really help. I would say diagnose, that I, call to people's attention when they work with me in my Sacred Portal Success Coaching, Spiritual Success Coaching, is that the portals zero in on the fear that's kind of being disguised in a way that's holding you back from stepping into your purpose or your big vision, or moving forward on, what's true in your heart. The Sacred Portals help with that. But I want to talk about the topic of fear, of that from the point of view of people always are saying to me, how do I stop my fear? Okay. Now, I want to tell you, until you're self-realized, enlightened, your fear is probably never going to like completely 100% dissipate. There's always like a little bit of fear somewhere in there. And so I want you to be willing to say that I'm going to start to go, how do I stop the fear at this moment? How do I shift from fear to faith? How do I shift from fear to love? Those are the questions, because when you continue to practice those things of shifting from fear to faith or fear to love, because if you watched my last video, I talked about the blank canvas and how each moment we have the opportunity of a blank canvas to make a different choice, to create something new in our life. So that moment is moment by moment, okay? So as you're on this path, if you're a spiritual seeker, a light worker, to growing spiritually, to developing your skills, you want to sit to ask yourself, when you catch yourself in anger, worry, doubt, anxiety, any limitation you're putting on yourself is usually based in fear. Like, how can I shift from fear to faith? Or how can I shift from fear to love? Okay? Now, what I find is we usually all have a blind spot, which is ourselves, and that's why utilizing someone else to coach you or to support you is so important, because when you're on the outside looking in, it's really easy. The one thing I love about my sacred portals is they know more than I can even see, and they zero in on the thing that's keeping a person stuck in fear, stuck in, kind of not stepping into their big vision or their purpose. But if you want to really start to practice how to overcome this fear right now, it's about having trust in your higher power, how to develop that faith in your higher power. Start to, and I'm interfaith, so it's whatever you believe, whether you believe in God, Buddha, Allah, Spirit, the universe, whatever word, name you call your higher power, it's how do you step into, deepening that faith, expanding that faith, because if you're operating in the law of more life, one of the things you want to do is expand your belief in your higher power. Expand, like people sometimes would tell me, oh, I have faith, but they worry and they're anxious, and they're doubtful like all the time. And I say, fear and faith can't be in the same place, appear in the same place at the same time. You're either in fear or you're either in faith. And if you're having any kind of fear, worry, doubt, anxiety, anger, you're not in faith at that moment. So it's about how do you switch to that faith. And one of the key questions you can ask yourself is, when you see yourself in fear, is, how can I shift to faith? How can I shift to love? How can I shift to, peace? And your mind will start to answer. Now, if you're somebody who wants some help with uncovering, what those hidden fears are and what's keeping you stuck from stepping into your big vision and your purpose, into like really expanding into your more life, into what else you have to manifest, whether it's wealth or prosperity, abundance, love, joy, whatever it is you're desiring, feel free to check out my gift of a connection call. Just go to deepaloo.com/gift, and I'm giving you a complimentary connection call, no cost to you. Would love to help you with how do you start to shift from that fear to that faith and that love and that joy. All right? Well, you have a miraculous day. Blessings.